Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to ZBrush Live. This is Kermaco Hard Surface and Character Design. And last one for 2025. So it's going to be the last episode for 2025. And yeah, so I don't think I'll be finishing this project today, but it will go into next year, or I'll start something new. I don't know. I mean, I haven't decided yet. I'm still kind of contemplating a couple of things, maybe making some changes in the up and coming streams. So I don't know if I want to maybe not have a long-term project, or maybe having a project that doesn't span 20 episodes or something like that, maybe shorter ones, or not. I don't know. I think if you have an opinion, let me know in the comments. Okay, so let me know in the comments whether or not you want me to do longer episodes, and I do focus on different aspects of it, or if you'd rather I just do shorter projects that end in 1 or 2 episodes. So yeah. And I've seen successful streamers do both, so I don't know which one would be more preferable to you all. But again, let me know in the comments and maybe give me some reasons as to why you think one is better than the other. Okay? So hopefully you guys can see my screen okay and hear me fine. I am a little bit under the weather, but I think I should be okay for the stream. All right, so if you like and subscribe, I mean, I don't even know why I'm saying that, but, it's the least you can do, and it helps us out. It helps you out because you get notified when there's new streams. So, yeah, do that. And also leave a comment. Again, as I mentioned, one comment I would appreciate if you left is whether or not you like it. You would like longer streams or shorter streams. I don't know if you'd like Q&A streams every now and again. And I'm just basically ending the year by asking for feedback from people who watch this. And I know some of you watch this regularly. So if you have any opinions, let me know. And if you're watching this after the fact, you can always let me know as well. I probably won't make the change directly in January. I think actually I might be taking January off. But I definitely will be taking it into consideration moving forward. So your feedback matters to me. So please leave it. And if you have any questions, of course, if you're on the stream, you can ask me and I will do my best to answer it for you. We've gone on many tangents before and I don't mind doing that. And if you have questions after the fact, you can always leave them in the comments, and I usually get back to people. Okay, so without further ado, if you guys have any, if you guys can hear me okay and see my screen okay, and all that, let me know. And if you can, then just drop me a line in the chat. Okay. Great. Everything is fine. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Zuntrix. It's always great when somebody's already figured it out. All right. So moving on to this. What's going on here? All right. I think, yeah, tab 2. That's what's going on. Tab 2. I'm going to turn this off for now. Tab 2 solo. Okay. So this is the thing that we topoed last time. And if you are not familiar with it, I will notify you that on my I did a quick power tip, I think last Sunday was it, or I don't remember when, but I basically just did a quick power tip video. Where did it go? Do they still have it, or did they take it away? Oh, here it is. Yeah. So Kermaco Power Tip. So this is an important one you should watch. It's like a very short video, maybe 5 minutes or so. And this is another one. If you guys like this, let me know. I'll do more of these. But basically, it was just how I finished up this retopology. So I was doing the retopology in my stream, but I didn't close it up. But then I used the method that I showed, which basically is that you hide or you basically use close hole. You use the ZRemesher close hole function to close the hole, and then once you do that, you just hide everything else, and then it will, ZRemesher will automatically fill it in for you. It's a really cool power tip. So that's one. I'll give you one today as well, and I'll probably record a separate video for it. So even though this looks like it's all quads, it's always good to make sure that it is, and I don't think it is. So I'm just going to go to the Z-Modeler brush here, and I'm going to use the polygroup, and I'm going to use polygroup all the quads, right? So here's an option to polygroup all the quads. You click on that, and now all the quads are polygrouped. And as you rotate around the model, you might not notice it, but there might be some triangles in there. And a good way to kind of figure that out is if you hit Control and Shift and just click on this polygroup, and then just reverse that that selection, right? And lo and behold, there are a couple of triangles here, right? So there are a couple that I had not noticed, and you can see them over here. And so I have to do something about these triangles, right? So here's the full thing, right? And then where were the triangles? They were somewhere down below here. There they are, right? So they're in a different polygroup right here. So what is a good way to get rid of these triangles? You can try and retopologize it or whatever, but I'll give you another power tip on how to do that as well. So the way I would do it is, first of all, I would just click on this, and that will hide these two triangles, right? So right now the triangles are hidden, and then I would go and say delete hidden. So now those triangles are gone, okay? So there are no triangles anymore. All right, let's just bring the focus back to this piece. And is local on? No, okay, that's what's going on. All right, and then I'm just going to zoom in. All right, so here you can see that I've got these triangles here that were there before, and I've deleted them, so they're not there anymore. So now what I want to do is I just want to go again in ZRemesher and add an edge loop. So I'm going to insert an edge loop. So what you want to do is you basically want to find a line that will connect these triangles up. Okay, so now I've converted these triangles into quads, and what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to move these points in like this. Okay, so now if I go ahead and go to close here and click, that's going to close these two up. Now what close always does, it closes it with triangles, so it actually adds two triangles here, but all I have to do is just delete this one edge over here, so delete edge, and this one's deleted. And so now this is a quad as well. And if I use that polygroup all quads now, so now I know that everything is a quad, right? And if I control click on it, you'll notice that it won't disappear because there are no triangles at all. And there's also a way you can say polygroup, and you can say all triangles. You can do that, and you can see here that there are no triangles, so it is not polygrouping them. So that's the other power tip, is that if you want to make sure that your model is all quadded, then you want to make sure that you've gotten rid of all the triangles. So this is a good state for this object, the subtool at this point. So what I want to do is duplicate it. And notice here, when I duplicate it, it is no longer a retopo object, right? And I've got a couple of retopo objects here. I'm going to go ahead and move them into the construction builder group that I have here at the bottom somewhere. Builders right here. Okay, that's one. And here's the second one. Okay. And then the one we're looking at is this duplicate that we made. So now, the reason why retopology was necessary on this piece is because I wanted to maintain these edges over here. So I want to maintain these edges, and if I did a ZRemesher, sometimes it basically doesn't maintain these crisp edges. However, if I subdivide this now, and if I just do a dynamic subdiv, you'll notice that the subdivision doesn't happen evenly. So here I've got these really thin, long polygons, and then here I've got these big polygons, and that's really not what I want. I want this to be as evenly subdivided as possible. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do what I call is manual subdivision. So I'm just going to go to Insert here and start adding edge loops. And basically what I want to do is I want to get these to be quads. So here's one. Well, I mean, not quads, but I want they're all quads anyway, but I want them to be squares, right? So right now they are squares. And so this is the square size I'm going for. So I'm just going to manually retopologize these until I get everything to be this size square. And this does take a little bit of time, but you can speed it up by, if you're going to insert edge loops, you can insert multiple edge loops, so that speeds it up. Now with that, what it does is it adds these polygroups, which you don't want, and you can turn that off. So here I'm just going to say keep the polygroup. So here what I'm doing is I'm just adding some edges. Again, I'm getting those square shapes where I want them to be. I'm doing the same thing here. Okay, but you got to notice that when you do that, it is affecting other areas as well. So make sure that the areas that you're going to do a lot of sculpting on, where you want these square polygons, is where you actually are adding them. But it does, add some extra edges somewhere, else in the model that you might not want it to be adding edges to. Like for example here, this part is now perfect, but then look at what we got here. We got kind of more constrictive geometry. So here, this is called selective subdivision. And what I'm doing is I'm doing selective subdivision in areas where I do want those polygons, and I'm going to be sculpting on them. And if I bring the rest of it up, you'll notice that here in this case, this area is needed, but the area up top was not. So I'm just going to kind of Control Z back. Okay, and I'm going to turn on transparency and ghost mode, and then just focus on the areas that really matter to me, which are over here, like I wanted this crisp edge. So what I'm going to do here is add some edge loops over here. Like this, maybe add an edge loop here. So I just want these to be square shaped. Obviously here I'm going to add an emblem or something, so I want these to be square shaped. So there we go. So here what I'm doing is just doing selective retopology or selective subdivision to subdivide areas manually where I will be sculpting more or less. So when I subdivide these, they're not going to be thin strips. And here I might just go to insert in a single edge loop for now. And while I'm doing that, I also want that to be in the middle. So I'm going to click on half. So I know that wherever I'm adding these edge loops, it's in the middle. Okay, there's that, there's that. So I can see here that it's not perfect, but it is definitely more cohesive and more square shapes. Here I'm going to do the same over here. Okay. And this is a time-consuming process, so you want to make sure that after you're done with it that you do a quick save. And I'm getting to the point where I'm getting a little bit itchy to do that, and I will do that very soon. Okay, so here, the areas that I want subdivisions, I'm adding them, to them. And I know that the edges that I want to have be crisp are going to be crisp, so I'm happy about that as well. All right, let's add some edge loops over here, like this. And maybe one over here. Definitely one over here. So you can see here that I am subdividing, but I'm doing it manually. I see some big kind of slots over here. Let's go ahead and subdivide those because I know I'm going to be doing maybe some damage sculpting or maybe putting a decal or something over there. So I do want those subdivisions to be there. And again, I don't really have to do this, but it's nice if I do. One other big deal here is that if you are going to UV this thing, you should do it before you manually add these subdivision levels, because these subdivision levels, you can't go up and down like you could with subdivision levels. So you want to make sure that, you don't want to be cutting edges with this level of topology. You want to cut edges where it's minimal. So you probably wanted to do that before, and that's why we saved a version of this before we did all this work, so that if I do want to UV it, I'll just UV that and then add the UVs to this model. All right, I think that at this point we're almost there. I think I need a few more over here, and that piece is just basically done. I'm going to solo it out so I can take a look at it. I could add one here. I mean, there are certain areas where if it's like a huge, area where there's nothing going on, then you might want to add them. But always make sure that you are looking to see if those pieces are going to be visible. So this area over here is kind of what I really care about, so that's there. And notice that now if I subdivide it, it's basically going to subdivide pretty cleanly. I can even, what I can even do here is I can go ahead and subdivide it with smooth off once and then smooth on a couple more times. And it'll give me these really nice clean bevels. Let me turn transparency off. it'll give me these nice clean bevels here. And go ahead and just, with this kind of stuff, it's really good to use smooth directional. And you can just, oops, smooth things in the right direction to get the look that you want. So, okay, that's great. And notice here that if I want to add chips, or if I want to add like little details on this, let's go ahead and choose the, let's say the Damien standard brush. Notice that I will get really nice, crisp. I don't know if you can see it with this material color. Let me make this a little bit darker. And let's fill the object. Okay, so you can see here that if I want to add, let's say, a chip over here or something like that, and I have symmetry on, which, you know, chances are chips aren't going to happen. You can see that that is going to be nice, clean kind of addition of geometry, and it's going to make a nice kind of thing. And the other thing also is, like, if I want to add an alpha, so let's do that. Let me choose my brush here. Let's use this one, aka Maxstamp. So if I want to add, like, let's say some details, notice how cleanly these just will drop in to those areas, right? I could probably add one more subdivision level here. And when I add these details, they'll just drop in very nicely, right? Okay, so here, if I just want to put 3 of these like that, it'll be done very nicely. As a matter of fact, while I'm at it, I mean, I'm not really doing detailing right now on this, but I might think of, like, maybe seeing if I could just put a couple of these over here and maybe a couple down here. Maybe add an angle like that. Okay. All right, so so it's auto-saving for me automatically. I was going to auto-save before this. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go back a couple of steps in autosave because I just want a version of this without any detailing or anything on it. Okay, so I'm just going to go back a couple and then just do a quick save, just so that I have a kind of a pristine version of this before I add the details. All right, so no questions so far. I guess you guys are following along. And yeah. Again, if you have questions or you want to talk about anything, please feel free to do so. I'm going to go ahead and refill this with a lighter color. Okay, this is kind of coming in slowly. Do I have RGB intensity? That's weird. Let me solo this. Nothing's masked, right? Do I have fill gradient on? No. Okay, so I don't have RGB on. That helps. Okay, fill object. Nope, still not doing it. I'm still going little by little. Oh, here we go. RGB intensity was not at 100. Okay, now this will do it. Okay. All right, so continuing to work on this model, I'm kind of having a bit of a challenge with this piece right here. So I did purchase a really nice kit bash kit this week from Vang Chi, and I'll just go ahead and load it. So again, this new user interface in ZBrush 2026.1. By the way, we're on 2026.1.1. They didn't release a patch as well. Anyway, in here in the light box, you go to user, which is where my brushes are. And I'm going to go to my brushes and go to my IMM brushes. I think I'm going to put that brush set in here moving forward. But for now, I think it's right here. So this is the Curve System Pro, he calls it. But it's a series of really cool pieces that I can use here. And I'm trying to go see if there's one that will fit more or less in what I'm trying to do in this area. This looks like an interesting piece, but it does have some restrictive shape language that I don't know if I want to use that. This looks like an interesting piece right here that I might be able to use. Let's see. Yeah, these are really well done and they're all sub D. So I usually, when I get kit bash kits, I like to get sub D kits. I think there's more you can do with them. All right. So I'm kind of liking this piece right here. So I'm just going to select this orange piece, which I've basically worked on over and over again, but I somehow cannot get it to do what I want it to do. This piece right here. So I'm going to try and replace it with one of these kit bash parts, right? So I'm just going to go back to that kit bash kit. And I'm thinking maybe this one. So I'm just going to go to the gizmo and click on this, which will replace that piece with one of these guys. And I don't know if I want to use this exactly the way it is. So I'm just going to move it to the side here. And let's go ahead and look at the topology of it. Also, I don't know if I need this to be, oh, I don't want to move back in time. I don't need this to be this big, so I'm going to make it smaller again. So you can see here that this is really well done topology, and I kind of like these little details on top, but I don't know if I mean, it's going to be a piece that's just going to go here. So I don't know if I need that. I'm just going to go ahead and shrink it down like this. And so you can see here, since it's a good sub D and a well-designed piece, it's going to be okay. Only thing that isn't okay, though, is that there's this kind of circular area over here. And when I go ahead and shrink this down, that circle is going to become an oval, which is not really ideal. But let's take a look at this piece and see if I can isolate it and get rid of it. Okay, so there they are. And I don't really need that piece, so I can just delete it. And so I'm left with this now. And here, I'm going to use extender. I guess I can shrink this down a little bit more to maybe about there, right? And then I'm going to use the extender deformer to go ahead and change the shape of this a bit. Again, since it is sub D, excuse me, it works pretty well to be doing this. Okay, thank you for the, oh yeah, you're welcome. I'm using ZModeler right now, but here I'm using a deformer. But I will be sculpting too. So I just go back and forth between all different things that I do. Okay, so I think this is, what is this, symmetry? All right, let's see here. Sometimes when you are using these cones, yeah, it's X symmetry. So we want X symmetry to be 1. Actually, let's just leave it on. And then which one's the one where, okay, yeah, resolution. So here I'm just adding some edge loops here, like that. And I think this is creasing. No, this is just making it bigger, which we might do. Maybe not. Does it? How about if it goes in? No. Right? And is this creasing? Yeah, it is. So we're just not going to have it be creased. So now I've taken that kit bash piece and I've made something completely different with it. Okay, and I'm going to turn it around this way, and I'm going to turn it around, oops, this way. Okay, and then do that. And I want to use this piece here to see if it works. Something like that. Again, I do have some leeway with this kit bash part to do certain things. And sometimes I like working this way just because it makes it, it just gives me some ideas of certain shapes that I might not have thought of. So this kit bash piece is not really being used exactly as is. It's actually being modified a little bit. Here, I'll turn polyframe off to see what that looks like. And it kind of looks interesting. I don't know if it's working exactly in what I want to do here. But I could do another thing here as well. And here I'll just go ahead and accept this extender deformer, and then I'm going to do it again. But this time I'm going to go this way. Maybe something like that. Again, let's add some subdivisions, not too many. Again, I want to get to that square shape. And let's move it over and see if something like this works a little bit better. And it's always good to see it in symmetry, so I'll mirror and weld it to the other side and see if this makes this part work a little bit better. And I think it kind of does, actually. And here I'm going to try something else with these guys and just see if I can make them be at an angle. If that would be better. Something like that. And then just move it in. So this is kind of kit bashing a little bit, and yeah, so there it is. Okay. All right, so that's looking good for me. However, I have to figure out now how to link this to the legs here, and I'm not exactly sure on how to do that, because if I extend these, they're gonna hit each other, which I don't want. I want something to go down. So I'm going to try and see if I can lift these guys up to see if there's an intersection here that might prove effective. No, it's not. So I guess then this idea that I had with these guys being at an angle was not the best. All right, let's see if I can work it in such a way where they could be at a straighter line. Sometimes you can need to just turn the whole thing around. And let's see if this works. It kind of does. It kind of does not. All right, I'm going to break one of my cardinal rules here, and let's go ahead and center these and make these, let's turn local symmetry on, make these thicker. Let's turn dynamic off. Okay, so that just basically is making these a bit thicker. And I don't usually like doing that, having two pieces that are the same but of a different size. But here I'm going to try and see if I can hide the fact that this is what the other thing is. Okay. By just pushing it in this way, maybe. Here we go. I still have to solve the puzzle piece of connecting this to the rest of the leg. But I might be able to do that with another kit bash piece, so I'm going to go ahead and explore this kit bash set again to see if I can find, there are a couple of cylindrical things here. Let me enlarge this again. There are a couple of cylindrical pieces, maybe this one. I don't know. Here, let me lift these up. Actually, what if I do this? All right, so I'm not going to do it with these guys. I'm going to put these guys back where they were, and I'm going to try and do something else with these guys over here. And that is to duplicate them. Flip them around. Oh, man. You have to make sure they don't connect to each other, because if they do, then they basically weld points, and you don't want that to happen. Right, so I'm just going to do this and see if I can make this plus kind of crossbar design work with some sort of connection over here. And this is just basically trial and error. Notice you can keep rotating it as long as you don't let go. The points won't stick to each other. And here again, I'm just exploring ideas of like how to make this work. You know, I mean, there are some things in here that are working and there's some things that are not. So I'm going to try and do some other thing here where I just basically try and align the plus sign, the pluses. I mean, what I mean by the plus is the cross section. I'm going to try to align the cross section with the cross section underneath. Like that. And I think that's good. And now what I want to do here is I'm just going to split the mask parts, so that splits the top part out. And then with the top part, I'm going to go ahead and again, let me make this a bit smaller. What I'm going to do here is just limit this cylindrical part to just like a little bit over, like that. Oh, man. Okay, I think it's just overlapping. So the best way to do it is I'm just going to do delete by symmetry, so I can just work on, oh, wait, that's what's I selected the wrong thing. What I want to do is work on this piece. Okay, and what I want to do is just revert this. And then just see if I can get away with doing it this way. No. Solo it out. Okay, it's still reverting to this other piece. I don't know why. Q2. All right. Okay. All right. And let's get this where it needs to be. Okay, and then solo. Delete by symmetry, so I just have one side and I can just do this to it. Let's turn symmetry off. Okay, so it's did it do the separation? I guess not. These all in one piece. Okay, split to parts. Okay, all right. I think we're good now. And all I want to do is just flatten this so that it just has a little bit of a lip like that. And I don't know if I got that perfectly. I did not. So let's do it perfectly like that. Just make sure it's flush. A little bit up further. Like that. Okay. All right, that's good. And then what I want to do is get this piece to somehow align with that one. Then I'm going to delete by symmetry this one as well. So, oh, no, not is local on. It is. Delete by symmetry. Okay, still. Okay, so it does not have the other piece. It's just the one piece. So, all right, we're good. And then what I want to do is, did I have two of these by chance? Why is there two of them? All right, so this is some other piece. So what is going on? Okay, this one right here. Apparently it's not in the right area, but that's fine. Let me solo this out. Okay, so this is one piece, and then there's this other one that has the two. I don't need this one. Okay, so the one that has this one piece right here, I just need to get it to align up with that plus thing there to see if that works. It's at an angle, so it could prove a challenge, but let's see if I can make it work. Okay, 4 or 5 streams, the sweet spot for making an awesome mech. Okay. I mean, I could limit it to 4 or 5 streams, but you're not going to get the same result. You're going to get something substandard. Because if I want to get something that I want, it's going to be more than that. I mean, it could be a simpler mech, it could be sketch, but it's not going to be a finished piece like this one, for example. This one, I'm going to take it all the way to finishing it, and for what you're asking, for 4 or 5 streams, then it would not be finished, but it would be a sketch, and it's something that I could either develop on my own. But if your patience is basically at that level, I totally understand that. Because I think people kind of, you know, if you're learning from this, then you're basically like, okay, I'm kind of tired of looking at the same thing, even though I'm learning new stuff. I get that. Most other streamers usually like do 1 or 2 streams or 3 streams on the same topic, but I know there's some that do a lot more, so I don't know. But yeah, it'd be nice to just keep moving onto different projects for low attention span kind of folks. All right, so here notice that when I cut that, it just didn't really like it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add another edge loop. I'm going to do it differently here. I'm going to do it with the, where is it? Slice curve, right? I'm just going to do a slice curve right here where I want that division to happen. And now if I do this, now this is going to slice curve it, which is not what I want. I want to go back to clip curve and then just do this to it. And it should give me what I want. Yep, that's good. Now this is good on the front and back. I just need to make this work too. Something like this. Nope. Okay. I guess I do need to turn this a little bit for it to fit that plus on top. All right, so when you get into a situation like this where you're really dealing with a connection that's just not working, what I usually do, I mean, if this was CAM, it would be a different story. But in my case, what I'm going to do here is, I'm actually just going to delete this. I can always use a different means of doing that connection and having it be obfuscated. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take this piece and duplicate it, right? And I'm just going to assume that there's going to be a piece that's going to go over here like this. So I'm just going to split the mask points so that top piece is on its own. And I'll just move this to where kind of that connection is going to happen, like somewhere around here. And I'm going to make this a little bit thinner so it fits into that circular area. Okay. And or the other thing I could do is I can make it thicker so that it kind of goes, you know, over and above it, which in this case might work better, right? Okay. And then what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to let's say mask this part, make this bigger, and this is kind of where it's going to be. So it's going to be like this thigh area. And what I'll do here is I'll just go ahead and Dynamesh this. Okay, and so I basically get a shape that I want, and then I'll just go ahead and now basically just, you know, trying to create some sort of a, like it's going to be something that's basically a cloth cover of the piece, right? So if I wanted to conform to the piece as it was before, then I will go before I did the ZBrush, and I'll go ahead and just create where that piece is going to be. So let's say it's going to be a thigh that's going to be like about this big, right? And then it's going to, this part's going to be smaller, right? It's going to be something like this. Okay. And up higher, and it's going to connect to this piece right here. Okay. And this is just going to be electronics that's inside, let's say. And then I'm going to invert that, mask, and then move up here, and then adjust this piece to kind of do the same thing that way. Okay, so let's say this is going to be the piece that's inside. So I'll just Control D that. I'll duplicate it. I keep using Control D to duplicate, but I know that that's not what happens in ZBrush, so I actually have to manually duplicate it. Okay, so here, duplicate it. So I've got two of them, and then I'll ZBrush or Dynamesh one of them. Okay, so where did that go? Where are you? Here it is. Okay, so this is, let's Dynamesh it. Was masked. Okay, so now there's a Dynamesh on top, right? And I can just even ZBrush this. So if I want to get quads, I'll just get quads. And I don't really care about this. I'll just make it a little bit bigger than the piece that's underneath it, right? Okay. And then what I'll do here is I'll just do a project. And project all, just project it onto whatever's underneath. Okay, so this kind of snaps it back onto there. And now I'll just go ahead and do an inflate. So I've got inflate here. So that's deformation in the tool menu, but I actually have it here in my UI. I'm just going to do a little bit of an inflate here. And I'm not really going to worry about all these kind of, you know, sharp corners or whatever. Basically what I'm doing is this is going to be like a piece of plastic or cloth or whatever that's covering what's underneath. So I do want a little bit of the underpinnings of what's underneath, but I also do want it to not be like a mechanical piece. Okay, and then I basically will use the cloth functions. So I can either use the cloth brushes. So here I'll just use the nudge, cloth nudge. And before I do that, I should go ahead and in Dynamics do a few things. The first thing is I want to make sure that whatever is underneath here is kept. So I'm going to keep collision volume, but go to 1.2, let's say. Collision volume. Okay, I've got that. So now if I start nudging this around, then it will conform to the collision volume that's underneath it, and I don't know why it's still intersecting. Let's do that one more time. Collision volume calculation. Is it not happy with that? Okay, did do it. Okay, here we go. This is what I'm looking for. So now it just basically looks like it's some basically cloth piece or rubber piece that's covering this. And since I have it ZBrushed, it is good geometry, and I can always, you know, ZBrush it one more time with same. Because I kind of, you know, I think this is enough detail, and I can just refine these edges. And there you go. All right, so now I've got that. And the only problem with this is it creates this kind of a mess over here. All right, we'll always have some people coming in, and what I'm going to do here is add this guy to block list, and he is blocked. Okay, so now here I don't really want the top and bottom of this, so I'm just going to cut them out, and I'm hoping that the topology is going all the way around, so it'll be easy to do that. A good way to find out is just to go to ZModeler and polygroup polyloop. Okay, so just do that. Okay, as you can see here, it's not. So the way I solve this problem is, first of all, I'm going to use the knife brush, but before I do that, I'm going to do a quick save. And let me do something here. One of my monitors is finicky with the power, so I just need to, yeah, here we go. I adjusted the power for it. Okay, so now that I did this, I'm just going to do knife curve. And I can also actually, you know, knife to curve is good, but it could give me issues. I could use trim curve as well. And what I want to do is I want to trim this part like this. It's going to fill it with some, you know, it's going to fill it with this garbage, which I don't want. But it gives it a different polygroup, so I can easily get rid of it. And I'm doing the same thing here on the bottom, okay? And then the only polygroup I care about is this top one. And even this top one isn't exactly where I want it to be, so I might need to do a little bit more cutting. So I'm just going to go a little bit deeper here into here, yep. And so this is all going to go away. So I'm going to delete all the hidden points. Right? And so I just basically have this cylindrical shape. And then if I zero mesh this again, it will make the edges more fluid. And that's what I want. I want those fluid edges, because what I want to do here is I want to put a couple of curves on there. So geometry, curve or under stroke, curve, and curve functions. And what I want to do is just frame the mesh. So it basically just put a curve on top here and a curve on the bottom. And then what I want to do is go to brush and curve tubes, this one, and set my brush size to 1 and just pop these on. And that adds these nice borders. I could also use, by the way, another good one for this is if I go to brush and it's got a different name, but I think it's either chisel or I think it's one of these curve. I think it's curve alpha, and then you can choose a different alpha to put in there, and I can just do that. So here, notice that if I click here, it just puts the star shape, which is really not what I want, and also it makes it kind of taper, and I can adjust that, but I can choose any alpha, so I can choose like a square alpha and do it. Okay, so it's still okay, and I might like this kind of border better than the circular one. And if I want to do that, then I need to make the adjustments so that it's not like tapering. But I think in my case, I'm okay with curve tube. I think that's fine. So we'll just do that. Okay, so there's the curve tube. Now, there's some weirdness happening over here, and I don't know why that is. Yeah, there's some overlap happening over here, and I don't know why that's overlaps happening. Yeah, there's a reason. There's some kind of weird thing happening with curve here, so I'm just going to go all the way to, oh, okay, that's why. There's like a little island here that I don't want, so I can just get rid of it, delete hidden. And, okay, and now I can do that frame again. And that problem is gone, so I can go ahead and do the curve tubes and put that edging around. It's too big. Usually you like to go to 1 on that for the draw size, and that's kind of a good way to do it, right? So the top's fine and the bottom is fine. And we'll just go ahead and split hidden. Or split masked, sorry. Split mask points. Let's split the unmasked points. And then I just don't need those curves anymore, so I can just delete them. Okay, so now I basically have this type of thing going on. And it definitely looks like there's a piece underneath it that it's adhering to, but it's actually a cloth piece. And if I want to do a little bit more sculpting on here, I can, you know, smooth it out a little bit. Couple of subdivision levels, and then just go to Damien Standard, and you know, just add some sculptural details on here that I want to, you know, maybe there's a bit of a pinch over here, something like that. Yeah, and then I can just duplicate this to the other side, mirror and weld. Okay, let's get back outside of subdivision levels here. So I did some heavy duty sculpting, so we'll get back to here. And let's mirror and weld it now. I mean, I could have mirror and welded with subdivision levels. Let's do that same thing with this guy. Mirror and weld. And we'll also do it with the curves. All right, that we created. So mirror and weld these guys. Okay, so now I've got the same thing on the other side. And if I want to here, I can maybe move these up. Symmetry on. Nope. Let's try it on. And I could move these curves up to here a little bit, and then I could move this up to also work. So as you can see here, it's you know, I mean, this is kind of the sculpting. This is the real power of ZBrush right here, is where I can, you know, sculpturally do some stuff, as well as have like something look very hard surfacey. Okay, and let's just go ahead and activate symmetry here and move these simultaneously together to form this type of shape. Okay, and maybe I don't like this up and down thing. I can adjust that. Right, so this will basically be some sort of a rubber piece that goes there and fits that part. And if I want to even go further, like I can even extrapolate the same thing that I did over here with these guys. I can do the same thing to the top here as well. It might look good, but for now I think this will work for me. Okay. All right. I think that's good. I'm kind of interested in what this piece is doing here, and it looks like it's kind of doing some work in the back and doing some work over here, but I don't know if I need all of this geometry to do that work. So I'm just going to change the color of this to a lighter gray. I like what it's doing, but I don't know if I need all that geometry for it. So I think I can get rid of all this part right here. Yeah. Didn't even know. So I do need some of it. I was a little too aggressive there. All right, delete those parts, and then I'm going to split this into two pieces, split two parts. Okay, and then there's this piece. I'm going to say double so I can see the inside. And what I want to do with this is I just, I like kind of the edges it has here, and like it adds some sort of like it's a separate piece kind of coming in. So I like that aspect of it. I like the fact that it's low resolution, so it gives me these kind of hard surface edges. So I'm just going to get that to a place where I like it. Something like this. And this is another piece that, like, if I were to put details on it or whatever, I would need to retopo it just for it to do exactly what I want it to do. But I think I might get away with just zero meshing it. Let's see. Let me just kind of get what I want first with it. Just something more like that. And I don't know if I really need this middle part. I don't. Okay, did I get rid of something important there? Nope, we're still good. Okay, so here, what I want to do at this point is just go ahead and Dynamesh this. Oh, I should get rid of the hidden parts. And I'll just Dynamesh this, which will give me something horrible like that, which is not what I want. So let me subdivide it a few times without having it be smooth, and then I'll Dynamesh it. Yes. Okay. So I've got, did it Dynamesh it? Nope. And I'm going to delete all the lower subdivision levels here. I don't need them. And I'm just going to Dynamesh this. All right. It's still giving me like some weird kind of anomalies over here, but I don't really care about that. First off, let's just get rid of anything that's floater. And let's mirror and weld this because we need the same piece on both sides. And then I'm going to go back to clip curve here and just straighten this out. There is a way to do this kind of thing without doing delete by symmetry, but okay. I kind of lost those hard edges that I wanted, but I can sculpt them back in. That's fine. I just want a piece that will work. It wasn't a lot of angles to add. Okay, I think this is good enough. All right, go to H-polish, find my planes. I'm going to subdivide this a bit. Turn off this dynamic symmetry, and then just find my planes. I have one this way, and I have one this way. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the preserve edge all the way up so I get sharper corners on this. Right, Damien standard to add some geometry going this way and this way. And again, this is still Dynamesh, so I can always go back and, I mean, I'm getting something even more interesting here, so I'm just going to go with it. Happy accident. Right. All right, something like that. Okay, and I'm going to turn AccuCurve on so I can get some sharp corners here. So how's everybody's holiday season going? It's pretty wild that 2025 is almost over. And what a interesting year this has been. I don't know about you guys, but it's been crazy for me, especially the last couple of months. I had some family issues, and it was really, really tough. But things are back to some semblance of normalcy or some semblance of a routine. Okay, so that looks pretty good here. I'm just going to go ahead and mirror and weld it to the other side. There it is. No, did it not work? Oh, it has multiple subdivision levels. Let's delete the lower subdivision levels and mirror and weld it. Okay. Let's go Damien standard. Okay. All right, and then there's the back piece as well, but I'm just kind of working on the front here of the chest, and I like how this is just coming together really nicely. I'm just going to bring this out. Again, this is probably very low poly, which is good. But I do need an edge over here, so go to Z Modeler, insert an edge loop, go back out. And again, with hard surface, you want to keep things as low res for as long as possible because you get these nice hard edges. And then once you got them where you want them, you can start adding subdivision levels and getting some bevels and all that good stuff. All right, so there's that. Okay. All right, turn off polyframe. I think this, okay. Okay, so here there's an interesting thing happening where there's this really cool piece on top, and this piece is kind of cutting into it. So I want to try two things. First thing I want to try is like, what if it doesn't cut into it? So let's do that first, and we have this type of thing happening. Or we have it doing that, or something in between. I'm going to try the in between. I think that might be a better way to go. And it is. Okay, and then this can kind of do this like that. And then one more. No, I think this is good enough. Okay, so for this piece, I think I'm going to combine these two pieces together. So I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and take a look and see this. What else this is? And I'm going to change its color to something, you know, more visible, so I can see if it's doing anything in the back. It's doing something back here, but it's not really vital. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to solo this piece out. I don't really need all this. Let's see if I can get away with just snapping it down. I can. And all right. So what I'm going to do also is I'm going to combine this with this. I think it's fine if these two are together. So let's go into the subtools. Here's this one, and where is this one? Did it connect? I'm just going to move this all the way up to here, and then I'm going to take these two and merge them together. So merge down. Okay. Solo it. Okay, so these two, I want them to be part of the same thing. And then I'm just going to re-dynamesh them. Why did that do it? No, it did. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and fill them with this color. Okay, so now they're that one piece. Now, when I did dynamesh them, it got rid of some of these hard edges, which is not what I wanted to do. So I'm going to increase the resolution so I keep those hard edges. So I'm going to go maybe to 1024, something like that, dynamesh. And so now I basically have those hard edges still, even though they're both one piece. I'll do a fill object. Good. Right. Okay. All right, and then here I can make it so these are paneled, and I'll do that later, but I just kind of wanted to, you know, reduce the number of pieces to what is important. So there's this one, and then there's this piece right here. Let's see what that is. Okay, so that has definitely a lot of significance and is needed, but it's got some weird things going on here, like this is not coplanar. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to go ahead and let's take a look at the topology here. So either I can put an edge in here to fix this issue, or I can make it coplanar. And there's, you know, different reasons why I want to do one or the other. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing where I basically will dynamesh this with a higher resolution. Something like that, so I maintain the shape, and then I'm just going to use H-polish to slap this thing down. Okay. I'm seeing a lot of really interesting robotics videos lately, and getting very excited that something like this could be made. So I think robotics is advancing pretty quickly, and a lot of really neat stuff is being done with robots. So it's very feasible that something like this could be built and could be something that is available. Again, the function of this robot is like it's a defense robot, and its job is to defend, to protect like a motorcade or something like that. Like a VIP or a president, or I mean, I'm sure it could be purposed for other things, but that's kind of its primary function. And here I'm kind of, I'm trying to again figure out the a good transition for this. And the straight line this way wasn't a good one, but I'm thinking maybe I want to go this way. So I do have a holiday gift for everybody. And I will talk about it towards the end of the stream. So if you have to leave, come back and watch it on YouTube because you want to find out what it is that I am giving you guys for the holidays. Okay, this kind of looks a little bit better. It still will conform to what's underneath, but and what you could do to these things to make it work better is you can just add a little bit of a mask like this. I guess I need a little bit more geometry. I'm going to divide it once. And then invert that mask, and then just use Damien Standard to draw some sort of a border line in. And you can go either direction. You can go in or you can go out. There we go. All right, I kind of like the way these are, just because like they look like you could add other things to them, which I will in a little bit. All right, how are we doing on time? Okay, wow, we're an hour in already. Time flies. Usually I drink tea during these things, but a friend of mine got me this really good Peruvian tea, coffee, and I'm drinking coffee today. Also, it's been a long day, so I definitely need a little bit of a pick-me-up, and coffee does the trick. Yeah, thank you so very much for saying that. Brutal. Yeah, I had somebody contact me and wants to rig this, so as soon as I'm done with it, I'll give it to him. I'm assuming it's a him. I think it is. And he'll rig it, and we can have this in different poses. All right. One of the things I wanted to work on today also is this piece right here that connects this shield to the shoulder. And I like the kind of the idea of it just being like one piece on top. So I'm going to kind of go with that idea. And I'm just going to actually just go ahead and use a cube for this. So I'm going to use my primitives kit here to just add a cube, just a simple cube. And I don't know why this thing is, oh, there's two of them, but they're too long. That's weird. Okay. Cube. Okay, here we go. Now we're good. And just rotate this thing. And I just want it to be very, very simple connector. Okay, is the cube. That's why. Let's center this. Here we go. We're good now. And just make this, let's turn local symmetry on. Would that do it? more or less. What about this? Yep, we're good. Just something like this to just be a connector that connects the shield to the arm. And the front part's way too long. Something like this. All right. It's good from the top. That's good. Okay. All right, I'm just going to turn smooth off and divide this a couple of times, and maybe do that and do so again here I'm just basically selecting an area where I want to mask it. So I'm going to go here to mask curve. Actually, I don't want to pick it from there. I have it in my mask. I can do mask lasso. Something like this. Okay, so this is kind of where it's originating, but after that it's getting wider to hold the shield. And it's not really connecting over here on the bottom, it's just connecting on the top, so that he just basically rotates his arm, and it just basically, you know, these joints here basically will fold in, and he can just completely protect his center area, more or less. And the head will kind of, you know, sink down into the neck here will sink down in. So he can have a very kind of protective profile while he's doing his kind of battle moves. Okay, right. And then let's see. I kind of wanted to do something with this piece right here too. And I don't know, again, I don't know if I want to still keep it as this. I think I like the shape. I just don't know if I can augment it with anything that will make it a little bit more interesting. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not a big coffee guy. Actually, I'm more of a tea person than a coffee person. And I make a very weak coffee as well. Because strong coffee makes me really jittery, and I don't like that. But I'm kind of, my speed is more of the amount of caffeine that's in tea. But every once in a while, you know, I do like coffee, and this Peruvian coffee is really, really good. Okay, I'm going to delete by symmetry here and just work on the one side with the clip brush until I get it to where I want it to be. And this is okay for, I mean, the knee is going to be bending over here, so I can bring this piece down a bit more. Okay, these are connected. Okay, something like that. Actually, I might get away with not having, oh no, I do need it. Okay, and then smear and weld that, not locally. All right, starting to come together. And again, this piece is a Dynamesh piece, so I can just mess with it all I want. And specifically for that reason. Okay, so that's coming together. think I'm going to update whatever this is with whatever I've got. I'm going to make this lighter yellow or lighter gray here, and then Control N. And let's update what we got with kind of a more updated version of this mech. Right, Shift S, and all right, so I'm going to explore some ideas still with that Kit Bash kit. I just got it, and I usually like to, whenever I get a Kit Bash kit, I try to incorporate it into the current project I have. And what that will do is it will help me kind of get more familiar with the Kit Bash kit, and then I can continue to use it in further projects because I'm familiar with it. Okay, so here we go. And there's some really neat tubes and muscle kind of things in here. So let me see if there's anything that I want to use. And again, this is something that is here. I'm just going to insert one of these Polymesh 3Ds, and then go to the gizmo, and then start picking these tools. Like, what about this one right here? Looks interesting. Could I put that one maybe right here? Move it along this way. Something like that. Now this does have like a defining pattern on here, but it's not too bad. And again, I can use extender here to pull this apart just a little bit to get something different. Now see, this didn't really work too well because this middle part just kind of is stretchy, but I'm going to see if I just hit it with a little bit of a smooth brush, if it gets better. Not really. Okay, so yeah, that's why when they're patterns like this, I mean, they look neat as is, but if you don't want to use that pattern or you want to modify the mesh in any way, it might interfere. But I think this might work still. I'm still, you know, kind of feeling positive about it. No, I don't think I'm going to use that. So here I'm just going to cycle through these pieces, find something else. Exposed wires are always fun, but I'm trying to keep this thing to be more kind of sleek, you know, piece. Here's another pattern on here that might work or not. So I'm just going to try and see. I'm taking this back to where I basically don't have a rotation on it, just to reset that level. Maybe this one. There we go. That seems to be good. Still have to get an angle. There we go. that works. Mirror and weld to the other side. Yeah, actually worked out pretty good. All right, so I can even take my adventure a little bit further and have a piece here. So I'm just going to split the mask points. So I'm just working on this one piece here, and I'm going to see if it would make sense to have another one of these guys down this way. And again, I'm not caring about this one over here. I'm just trying to see if I can get something on this side to look interesting enough. And again, I can always curtail this. Okay, so that looks good, but a couple of things. First of all, I don't really need that other piece, so I'm just going to delete it. And then for this one, since it's all, you know, sub D and polygrouped, I don't really need this top part. So let me see how much of it I can keep and get away with. Or I can just even do this. I can solo that. I can pick that, mask it, and take this top part and rotate it in. So that's why, I mean, when you get good kit bash kits, and this one's one of the better ones, I really like this one a lot. And so you get a good kit bash kit and you can do all sorts of fun things with it that basically will take it away from what it was before into something completely new, but it will still work. And if they don't have a design language, like I like Vitaly's kit bash kits, they're great too, the ones that are sub D, but he definitely has his own style like all over it, right? And if you don't mind using somebody else's style in your work, it's fine. But I tend to want to keep things as unique as possible. Okay, so that worked. Mirror and weld this to the other side. Look at that. That's looking a lot better. Now I can even go a step further and go back to this guy over here and tear another one off. Delete hidden. Oh no, split mask, sorry. See, this is the kind of thing where if I'm really like tired, I tend to do the wrong thing. Okay, here we go. There's that. Center this. And now for this one, I just want to try one more thing here and see if this works too. Add one more of these in the front. And again, I can get rid of this top part. Yeah, I don't know if this one's going to work. Just because I've got to have it at an angle, and if I do, it just doesn't work well. Nope. Not a good idea. And is this its own thing? It is. So if I just delete this, I should be okay. All right. We're back to this. I don't know why this one did not get mirrored and weld. Okay, there it is. That. Okay, I think this is good. All right, still kind of need to figure out something with this part right here. And I'm going to try another thing here. I'm just going to insert another Polymesh 3D. And then with that Polymesh 3D, which probably is up there somewhere, yep. I'm going to try using one of these parts, which are pretty neat. I'm going to unify it. So it's nice and big. Where did it go? There it is. Huge. let's see if I can use this over here. I'm going to add thickness to this. Again, it's a kit bash kit that allows me to do that kind of stuff. I had the same problem where, you know, this was circular, but then now it's not. So I'm just going to delete that part. Is this giving me the same problem too? Yep. So I'm just going to select this top part, Control-Shift-A, invert that selection. Oh man, there's a lot that needs to go. Okay, well, not a problem. That's why if I make kit bash kits, I usually try to avoid like having circular shapes as much as possible. So basically what I will do here is I will just go ahead and say polygroup auto groups and or group similar parts. Okay, and then that basically will group the similar parts together, and then I can just go in and individually change this to selection again. Delete the parts that have those circular shapes that I don't want. This one, and I think we have, oh, good. So the bottom ones were the same. So now I just have this shape, which is kind of what I really wanted. And I'm just going to put this over here. Make it bigger, make it thicker. Polyframe off. Well, let's mirror and weld that to the other side. And let's just paint it white. Okay, you can see that this is kind of, you know, some of the exterior details are coming across really nicely. And again, I could pull the same trick that I did over here, where I can just have this part be covered, and I might try that. This time I'm going to do it a little bit of a different way. I'm just going to go to my primitives kit here and just choose like a very small circle. And again, let's append, oh man, what happened there? Did I, what? Okay. Nope. Timeline. And okay. All right. So that's good. And then, yeah. All right. So what I didn't do here is just didn't append something. And I'll do that now. Subtool, append, or insert one of these stars. There it is. And W for that. Just bring it here. Replace it with one of these spheres, unify to make it bigger. I don't know why the gizmo is not on it. That's an interesting shape with the big ball on top. Okay, and then let's do the thing I want to do, which basically is just bring this here. What happened to this over here? That's weird. Okay, easy problem to fix. Let's keep these ones, delete hidden, mirror and weld. Yeah, I don't know what happened to that one leg. That was very strange. Okay, so going back to what we were working on, make this bigger, make this fatter, and now I'm just going to Dynamesh this thing. Let's go to topology, and I'm also going to zero mesh it afterwards. Okay, and that's good. Let's let it autosave. Actually, we've been pretty aggressive not letting it autosave, so I'm glad it's doing it. All right, same trick, but this time I'm going to preempt the edges. So I'm just going to go in here and delete a poly loop, delete this one, and same on the bottom. Delete island. Okay, and then solve that. Okay, so now I'm just going to move this to where I want it to go, more or less over here. Like that. And just, I mean, I could either use dynamics, which I will do. All right, dynamics is up here. And let's go ahead and recalculate this. And let's do a no gravity, but a deflate. And let's run that simulation. All right, it's giving me these kind of folds, which are interesting, but I don't really want them. But let's just continue to run that simulation. Okay, and then let's do a contract a little bit. Okay, it's too much. All right, let's do no deflate, but just a contract. All right, so that kind of gives me this interesting looking shape here. And I can use some of the cloth brushes, like the nudge, just to nudge it into place. I thought it would give me a better kind of thing with this X shape in the front, but it didn't. And, you know, when you want to reverse this process, you can just always inflate it back out. There's some definite folding into itselfness happening here, which is not good. Okay, let me just go all the way back, because I don't really want that to happen. So I need to go to the point where, yeah, this is where that happened. All right, we'll just do it over. And this way I'm just going to contract it. All right, so if you don't want the edges to contract, you can just always mask them, which is what I'm doing here. And run the simulation, which is giving me more of what I want. And then unmask, and then run the simulation again. Oop, too much. I think I'm just going to deflate it, not contract it. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so this is kind of what I definitely do want. The only thing I gotta figure out is these edges over here and how to, you know, move them. By the way, one of the things that I really like about ZBrush 2026 also is that the folder structure now is really nice, where you basically can have your own stuff in your own folder. And it'll be easy to, you know, for schools it's great. Like if I'm teaching ZBrush at a school, this, you know, I would want this 100%. And it's a pretty good feature that was just added. And in addition to the retopo brush, which is awesome. Okay, so that's good. I'm just going to mirror and weld this to the other side. Let's turn symmetry on. Okay, I'll put a border on this thing later. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so this is looking more like a prototype and not a finished thing. I mean, it's got a lot of like kind of extruding edges, which I kind of have to deal with. but it's fine. I mean, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I probably need to do a little bit more work in this area. And another thing I can also do for these pieces is I can do this. And I'm going to try that out. So here I'm just going to go to Dynamic Subdiv, turn Dynamic on, and unsmooth it. And then let's just do Micro Poly. And let's do maybe this one. Let's see here. Let's try this one. No. So you see here how it's like uneven. I mean, this is kind of a basket kind of weave, and I don't like that. But let's see what this looks like. It's not bad. Let's give it a little bit more of a scale. And align it. Okay, so you see how like some of these are long and some of these are short or whatever. The best way to kind of equalize this is just to zero mesh it. So here I'm just going to go ahead and zero mesh this thing. And when I do that, it'll be more even. But I'm not still 100% positive that this is what I want to use. Let's try and see what this one looks like. Scale is too much. There we go. Still not exactly very kind of techy. And I have made some of these myself. I'll have to go and find them before next time, but let's see what this looks like. Okay, that's kind of neat looking. Maybe a little bit of a weave of sorts. Yeah, that's kind of a good one too. And I'll just zero mesh this one more time. And I'll just keep hitting retry. And until I kind of want to get rid of that knot in the front, and that's gone. So here we go. I mean, this is kind of an interesting type of a wrap. And again, I can work on the borders, but I will figure that out later. All right, so I think I'm going to stop working on this guy here. I might pick up a few things, but I do want to tell you about what the Christmas or the holiday present is. And that is, let me see if I can find the window that it's in. All right, here we go. So basically, I had a title on Gnomon Workshop. So I had two. I have this one still, which is my 3D scan and read topology for production. But I also had another one, which was designing and modeling a combat mech. And they gave me the rights to that back, which is awesome. So I've basically shared the whole thing on my YouTube channel. And I'd been doing it 2 at a time every week. So here's chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And today I posted the last chapter. So the whole thing is up there for free for you guys to learn from. And there's a lot of really great stuff in here. So for example, compositing in Photoshop is the last one. Look dev and rendering in Keyshot, texturing in Substance Painter, part 1, part 2. There's UVing the mech. Part 1 and part 2. Then there's modeling the guns, which is kind of a really interesting thing, which is similar to what we did today with kit bash parts and whatnot. So it's all here, and it starts all the way from when I do research and how I gather research and create my research documents or my reference sheets. And then I basically do some VR sketching to figure out how I want the thing to be. So anyway, the whole thing is available for free. So this is basically my process. It was something that you had to pay for on the Gnomon Workshop, but since it's reverted back to me, I was considering one of two things. I was considering either selling it on Gumroad, but I think I like this idea of just making it available for everybody as well. So definitely go to my channel, which is youtube.com/@Kermaco, right? And if you don't remember what it is, you can always find me on Instagram. So I'm on Instagram, I'm Kermaco, and here's basically my post about it. Definitely follow me on Instagram if you want to kind of see the latest things that I'm working on. And I've got a link tree here, and my link tree will show you what all my different links are. And YouTube is right here, so you can find me that way as well. So the best way to kind of follow up on what I'm doing is follow me on Instagram. I want to pump this number up. I am one of those people that doesn't believe in like paying for followers or bumping up my number. I want to organically grow it. So if you guys don't mind, I'd like to lift this follower number to 2,500 and then maybe to 5,000. So there's that. And then, yeah, the videos are there. So this is happy holidays, everybody. You can watch these videos. And I do have them in a playlist. So if you want to just watch them in order, you can just go to playlists. And this is the full playlist. And here they are in sequence. You can just watch them from 1 to 19. It's hours and hours of tutorials and a lot of really nifty things in here, along with my workflow. All right, so definitely do that. If you guys want to get my kit bash parts, they are on my Gumroad. So that is, do I have a link for that? I don't have a link for it. Okay, what's this? The link for that, oh, here it is. Yeah, so basically here are my kit bash kits. So I've got the primitives one for free. You can get that for free. You can get my colors for free as well. And if you want to leave me a tip or whatever, there's a version of the Kit Bash kit that has some extra parts, and that's $5. And I do have some 2 Pro Kit Bash kits. One of them is a cylindrical pieces, really simple cylindrical pieces kit. And then I do have one that's loops and rings. And I'm actually going to be adding to these. So if you did buy them, you will get the updates for free. I'm going to add to these where basically they do have the folder structure in the new version of ZBrush. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's actually Van Chi has done that in his Kit Bash kit, and I'll show it to you guys. And it's basically this, where instead of just having all of the different pieces, you have these like rounded, flat, strap, multi, fiber, and mecha. You know, I mean, he's kind of has these on here, so you can just choose what you want. And also the new Retopo brush has that capability as well. So if you click on the Retopo brush here, then you can see that there's the basic shapes, the squares, the circles, half circles. So this is a new feature of the IMM brush. Again, just like a really simple thing that they've added that makes life a lot better for ZBrush artists. So yeah, so I'm going to be just updating my Kit Bash kits, these ones, these two, the 135 cylindrical Pro Primitives Kit Bash kit and this one, so that they do have those type of headlines, so you can look at them in a group session. And I do have logical grouping for them, so it will work really well. So look out for that. And if you've purchased these, you get it for free. And if you haven't purchased them and you do think they will help you in your work, definitely pick them up. I would appreciate the business. And with that, I think we will call it a night. So here is where we're at. We're almost done with this thing. I think we're pretty close. I think next time I might add a few more parts, and then after that, we'll just basically give it to the person to rig, and maybe we can get some good poses out of it, and have some poses with the gun. I don't think I finished the gun. I think that's still in the works. But maybe I'll take that off as its own kind of streaming project. And this is something that I could easily do in 4 or 5 streams. So I'll just basically finish this off then. Okay, and then we'll just have this mech be holding this gun and be in a situation where he's using it. All right, so let me get back to the mech. And we'll do a render and call it a night. Here we go. All right, so I'll just do a BPR render, see if I can get something interesting to leave you guys with. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good render. So let's just do one where we have the front view. And then let's do one where we have the side view. And I think the side view is kind of the profile view where, he probably will be on his side, like not to get hit as much. And then the back view. All right, that's pretty, that works for me. I'll just do one more. And then I will wish you guys a happy end of 2025. Hopefully next year, 2026, will be better for all of us. And happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Festivus, whatever you guys celebrate. And happy ZBrushing, everybody.